Meteorologist John Carroll along with meteorologist Taylor Knust. We do have a tornado warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service. Now, this tornado was indicated by Doppler radar. The area of location of this is in Pittsylvania County. The warning is until 3:15. You can see the area shaded in red. This is Highway 29. We have Danville located right in through here. The cell more than likely is located right in this center location here. We can zoom in a little bit closer to that, Taylor, and we can show you that, again, this fairly decent batch of dark reds. And, again, not really seeing, Taylor, do you notice any kind of a hook in there? Is there some kind of activity in through?
I'm taking a look at the velocity here inside this box. Right. Looks like right around Chatham, actually, there is a little bit of rotation. It's fairly broad. Whenever you get the red and green next to each other, the red means it's winds going away from the radar, and the green is toward the radar. So we look for that when we're looking for rotation.
Exactly.
So, definitely some sort of rotation. I wouldn't call it extremely tight yet, but at this point, National Weather Service is saying this is radar indicated, nothing confirmed on the ground yet.
Exactly. Now, if you are in Chatham, though, you want to make sure that you are prepared to deal with this tornadic activity that is moving your way. Again, Highway 29, Chatham right in through here. I would get into your safe place, get in the center portion of your house. If you have a basement, get into the basement. Although indicated by Doppler radar, there is an opportunity for this to drop out of the bottom of the cloud. We are going to be keeping an eye on this with our storm tracker. And again, at 2:50, which is only 4 minutes from now, Chatham, Cedar Hill at 3 o'clock. We're looking at Mount Airy at 3:15, 3:18, and Seneca at about 3:30. This is all tracking up through to the north and east. In addition to the fact that there is the possibility of rotation inside of this cloud that may drop a funnel out of the bottom, there is no doubt that there's a lot of rain, very windy conditions as well. You want to make sure that you shelter in place in this area, so make sure that even if you're as far north as Gretna, which again is still in the teeth of this activity, moving through to the, they're saying to the east, but to the north and to the east as well. Danville, kept checking in, keep an eye on this storm here by 58. This cell will potentially slide across as well into the Danville area. Out ahead of these is some strong gusty winds. Now, we have been saturated over the past several days with a lot of rain that is moving on through. We are now looking at an opportunity for some hail. We have hail about the size of an inch, a little bit less, just to the west of Chatham on, again, Highway 29 and out in through portions to the west in Pittsylvania County. Again, this hail is indicative of the fact that there is a lot of lift inside of this. There's a lot of action going on inside of this cloud. What happens with the hail situation is you have droplets of water that keep rising and falling throughout the cloud. The larger the hailstone means that that active uplifting of the water has cycled through a number of times, and the larger it gets, the more lift you have. Now, as far as the tornado is concerned, again, when you look at the green, you look at the red, we're kind of taking a look right here on 29. Again, nothing has been reported by local authorities to have dropped out of the bottom of this, but we are continuing to monitor this through. The tornado includes the cities of Chatham and Gretna, but also Danville in the counties of Pennsylvania is extremely dangerous right now. So this is what we want you to do. We want you to get in to your safe place. And as we track this, you can see that the track of it will take it up. Fortunately, it appears that there will be some open land, but there are small towns throughout the region. There are farms. There are places that could be in trouble. So again, anybody in the eastern half of Pittsylvania County, when this line of showers and thunderstorms moves on through, you are going to be seeing some significant amounts of rain coming in your way, and we're also going to be seeing very gusty winds. So again, moving across, zooming into this. Taylor, is there any lightning with these? Can we pull up our lightning?
Let's go check here. Oh yeah, quite a bit. Definitely around Chatham, and quite a few heading toward Danville as well. And you can see just south of the North Carolina border around Danville, that little pink core there, that would be a sign of at least heavy rainfall, if not some hail as well.
Yeah.
So either way, it's at least pretty severe conditions. We can go ahead and take a look at the hail, what the radar is estimating for hail here, right. And it's looking like probably over an inch or right at an inch for that little cell right there. So that's something to keep in mind.
This is the one we were just looking at, right? Right in through here.
So for those that aren't in the immediate path of that rotation, still hail is a concern. Either way, get inside. It's not a good time to be outdoors by any means necessary.
Not at all. And definitely do not try and get out and take any pictures of this. We do not want to have you harmed in any way. And again, when you see this pink, you say, well, that's a lot of rain. Well, it more than likely, as we just showed you, is probably some hail that is moving on through. And again, just the core of this is right over top of Chatham. So if you're in Chatham right now, again, you want to make sure that you get in the center portion of your house, get in your basement, and definitely, if you have a mobile home, get to someone with some stronger walls. That is for certain. Gretna, we are about to experience some trouble there. Taylor, are we noticing anything in through this region, right in through there?
Yeah, there's a look at velocity again. Yeah. I would say it's not as impressive as the couplet as at least the last scan was. Still definitely at least some broad rotation just to the north and east of Chatham. So that is, again, moving to the north and east. So Chatham, you are likely in the clear. That doesn't mean get out of your basement yet. No. Stay in your basement till at least this tornado warning is expired. And I'm just looking at a report from the National Weather Service. They're saying an emergency manager just reported a funnel cloud in the Chatham area. So again, stay in your basements if you're in the tornado warning.
Okay, that is a visual confirmation that there is not only rotation in the cloud indicated by Doppler radar, but emergency personnel have noticed a funnel cloud dropping out of the base of this. So this is a serious situation. This is not something you want to trifle about with. Get in the center portion of your home. And again, as we watch, this is the core, as we were talking about, of the intensity with this storm. More than likely right across Highway 29 was where this funnel cloud was spotted, as we noticed in the velocity a little bit earlier. So Mount Airy, Seneca, even we're talking Brookneal, which is up in through portions to the north of this. It's a fair distance away, but we are continuing to see this progress not very fast. So the other factor that's involved with this, if we can go back to the radar, is an opportunity for us to see some very heavy downpours with this as well. And again, as we do take a look here at just to the north of Chatham, right along Highway 29, again, a little bit of a concern right in through here. So again, where the divergence is, as you go around the loop around the Gretna on 29, that is more than likely seeing some hail. We are seeing gusty winds, and again, this is very problematic to the region. So again, what we're looking at is a lot of lightning that's moving on through with this. We are looking at an opportunity for the hail, and if you are having to drive around, pull over, get into a safe place, get into the middle, because when we see a report, a physical visual of a funnel cloud, then we definitely are seeing some significant problems here. So again, continuing to watch this as it migrates over the 29 corridor, moving off in towards the eastern half of Pittsylvania County. This tornado warning has been extended, or is until 3:15. So originally, it was extended until 3:30, so we're noticing some signs of deterioration, but not much, because we still have about 35 minutes of this, or excuse me, about 25 minutes of this left. But now my concern focuses down in the Danville area. Taking a look at Danville, we are looking right here on the border. This is North Carolina, Virginia border. Now, this cell right in through here is also starting to get a little intense, so this might even be...
yeah, let me interrupt you real quick.
Sure,
we're just hearing word from the National Weather Service saying a tornado warning is being prepared for the city of Danville.
Okay.
So anyone in Danville, take cover right now. Also, they're mentioning with the initial tornado warning, folks in Gretna and Chalk Level around there, they're in the path of the initial tornado warned storm, and that would be arriving in those areas in about 10 minutes. So again, pretty much anyone in Pittsylvania County and even Halifax County, as this system progresses eastward, take cover now. Again, lowest level of your home in the most interior room of your house as well.
Can we zoom into the Danville action here?
Absolutely.
We'll see what is going on. Again, might be some hail in here, and maybe the velocity will show us a little something different. But again, Danville, it is a serious situation as this system is really taking shape. We showed you earlier the temperature profiles of what we were seeing. These temperatures have been warming up into the upper 60s and low 70s. So again, if we could put this in motion too, if you don't mind, Taylor.
Yeah, and John, that new tornado warning has just been issued.
Yep.
It's in effect until 3:30. Includes the city of Danville, Halifax, Pittsylvania counties.
Okay.
Again, until 3:30 p.m. And this storm is kind of a mess. You're not going to see the tornadoes, so don't even try to go outside and take a look. It's covered in rain. It's rain wrapped is what it's called. So again, here is that new warning right here from the city of Danville into western portions of Halifax County, west of South Boston.
Right, exactly. So again, what you're talking about with the rain-wrapped storms means that it is raining so hard that you really can't see the funnel or the dropping of a funnel out of the base of the cloud. So again, two pockets here. We maybe go back up to the one up through to the north as well. That one is still very formidable just to the south of Gretna. So if you're in Gretna right now, this storm is just south of your area. This is the Gretna region right in through here. This core is moving on through up to the northeast corner of Pittsylvania County and marching up in through sections into the points north of that region. I don't know if we can get up a little bit further and see what is going on up in through the Lynchburg area as well, because here in Campbell County, again, we are looking at this just starting to come up into the southern portion of Campbell County. This is significantly just some heavy rain right now. It's still fairly relatively cool compared to further to the south, but again, going back down into the warning area, we have two separate warnings to talk about. And again, this is the initial warning that came out at about 25 minutes ago. We are looking at this action move across. We had a visual confirmation from emergency management personnel in and around the Chatham area that there was a funnel cloud with this as it moves on through. And now our focus is down into the Danville area as right over top of a very, very populated area in Danville is an opportunity for a tornado. So if you are in Danville, anywhere in Danville right now, and points off all around it, make sure that you get into the center portion of your house. Make sure that what you are doing is getting your plan in place, getting squared away to stay away from windows. Get into, if you don't have a basement, get in the middle of the house, cover yourself with a blanket. A lot of times, if these tornadoes do make it to the ground and do cause some problems, what happens with these is that debris is usually the worst problem with this. So here's what we are concerned about. So make sure you cover yourself with a blanket. This is a very serious situation right now in Danville. 40,000 people are registered in the Danville area. We're looking at Chatham with a number of folks in there. This is not just a rural area, which is still a major concern. But when you get these populous areas, Chatham, Gretna, and Danville, we are looking at the possibility of these things causing a lot of problems. Taylor, what are you noticing over there with our velocity, our rate of velocity?
Still looking at this initial storm that was warned. Again, this is tracking to the north and east. There was a funnel cloud reported about 5 to 10 minutes ago around Chatham.
Yeah, right in this area.
Still not hearing any reports of a confirmed tornado on the ground, but still, that does not matter. It could happen in the snap of a finger really, really quickly. So it looks like it's kind of mucky at this point, but the general broad circulation is heading toward the Gretna area and quickly to the north and east, tracking out even further. Probably to the east of Alta Vista is what we're going to be expecting with that initial storm. All right, let's go ahead and head south to Danville again.
Now, Taylor, you were a storm tracker. And when people can say that you can see these storms, with this rain wrap thing, tell us about what they're experiencing with that.
You're not going to see it. I mean, you might see it within hundreds of feet of you, and that's it. But with such heavy rainfall like we're seeing with this storm, when you see those really dark reds, that means there is heavy rain or big-time hail. Bottom line, either way, is you're just not going to be able to see that tornado. So there's no reason even to get out on your porch and wait for it and maybe see it. It's pointless. You're not going to have much left with that. So bottom line is just take shelter and be safe just in case worst case scenario happens.
And again, here is a look at the radar. We're not seeing a definitive hook in here, are you? I'm not seeing anything jumping right out at us, but
nothing in particular at this point, no.
But in addition, though, not only do we have a lot of lightning with this, I assume there's lightning that we can see through this. Lightning is extremely dangerous. It does appear that most of the lightning is up through to the north of us, south of the Chatham area, along Highway 29. But again, a lot of rain and a lot of localized flooding. We've been saturated. our water table is at the top. Now we're looking at, maybe we could tap on here for precipitation rate if we just query that and see that it's probably around 3 or 4 inches per hour, if you will. And our rainfall totals, as you notice, are not all that impressive. We haven't seen much really been reported yet, but overall we're continuing to monitor the tornado warning up in through the Chatham area. That is moving. The storm itself is moving away from the Chatham. That's up and through here, but this is where we're focusing our attention. It does appear that the core of this has moved up in through the I-29 or Highway 29 corridor and continuing to progress off in through the eastern sections of Pittsylvania County. But if you're in Seneca right now, it's time to get into your safe place. It's time to get into the middle of your house. It is time to get into the basement. This storm, although may not be in the actual warning area by the time it gets to Seneca, they may extend that out. So this is something that we are going to continue to watch for you. And you can see as this storm right through here, we watch this thing rotate on through the region, and this is the cell right in through this region that probably the storm spotter or the emergency personnel did notice the funnel coming out of that. I would not be surprised if in the next 5 or so minutes that we're going to be dealing with another tornado warning up in through portions of Campbell County and maybe moving up in towards Appomattox as all this energy is continuing to progress across the region. This is moving fast. This is going to get by your house quickly. This whole event for you is going to be about 10 minutes long. You want to make sure that during that 10-minute time frame, when this passes over you, and we're talking this line of storms north of Chatham, this batch of showers in and around Highway 29 as it moves away from the Danville area, that those 10 minutes, you are safe. And that's what we're here for. That's why we're telling you to get in the center portion of your home for that. Again, we are looking at this move across and progress in through to the north and east. In fact, maybe we can go up a little bit further north. Yeah, there we go. And you can see here's 29 wraps down in through Gretna. We are watching this progress up in through sections of southern portions of Campbell County. Brookneal is in the path as well. And we're looking at the radial velocity. And if you can see, Telly, you want to explain what's going on with this, you're more than welcome to chime in.
Yeah, there's a couple of areas I'm watching. One that I just circled there, and then maybe just to the south and east, right about there. Those are 2 areas that might have some broad rotation. I'm not seeing anything. We just had an update out there on the radar. There's nothing I'm seeing on radar that's too significant at this point. So nothing screams to me that there's obviously some tornado on the ground. Still a lot of spin in the atmosphere, so anything could develop rather quickly as we move through the next really several minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and scoot down here real quick.
Yeah.
Toward Danville and check this out. Again, nothing real noticeable. I would say maybe this little area of green and red next to each other would be something to keep an eye on. Again, nothing too substantial at this point, and I'm not seeing any confirmation of a tornado at this point.
See if we can't get real tight in on that. We pick up maybe a couple little towns or so that'll show up on our, there we go. So again, here's what we're concerned about as well. This here is 360 that moves across the Keeling area back down in through Beaver Park. There may not be a tornado in and over your head, but there is significant amounts of rain. There is a lot of wind. If you're in Keeling right now, Laurel Grove, Birch, anywhere along the Highway 360, I believe 360, I'm pretty sure that is. Yep. And so, without a doubt, this is a dangerous situation for you. We've had 2 specific reports, warnings for tornadoes. So one was in the Chatham area that has moved through and moved up through, you can see up there to the north. That is moving in towards portions of southern Campbell County. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And then this one here from Ringgold through Beaver Park, again, moving up through to the north and east. These warnings are 2 separate ones. They're still in place until 3:15 and 3:30 respectively. And underneath all of that, if you're not in the tornado path, you're still in severe thunderstorm mode. As you can see, this significant line of thunderstorms with embedded lightning strikes throughout this area, continuing to progress off into the southern Campbell County region. And again, Highway 29 off to the east is now seeing that area right in through here, just to the north and east of the Danville region is really where we're seeing right now the more significant amounts of rain. More than likely, there is hail with this. Probably we've had reports of hail about the size of a penny or a pea, but for the most part, we are still concerned about this. And then this line continues to track down further to the south. So what we're seeing, we're following this line moving up from the south to the north, and then of course as it got into that real juicy warm air that was building throughout the early afternoon hours, we really started to see these storms take shape, and the opportunity for rotation was noted on Doppler radar and visualized by one of the emergency management personnel. So as we do take a look here at this line, we're looking at Lynchburg right now. We can zoom into Lynchburg real quick and show you what's going on in that area. We are dealing with a very strong storm moving through. Nothing severe, but we do have a lot of rain and a lot of lightning that is possibly coming through with this. So if you're in the Lynchburg area, Amherst area as well, this is all progressing across to the east as well as up from south to north. Again, our focus is still further to the south, but I'm starting to be a little concerned in the Seneca area once again. If we can zoom in there, Taylor, and show you what's going on.
At the very least, they're getting hammered with heavy rain,
right.
So it's obviously not a great time to be outdoors there. No extensions of the tornado warning yet, so that is definitely good news. Even no extensions of any severe thunderstorm warnings at this point, so that's definitely good news. Bottom line, it's still going to be very windy with this cell and quite rainy. We're looking at pretty heavy rain and probably some hail mixed in there as well. I'm going to show you just the general track of this whole line here real quick because folks in Appomattox, Charlotte, and Halifax County need to have a plan right now of what's ahead, because this system is tracking to the east quickly, very quickly, to the north and east at around 40 miles per hour. And actually, with the latest tornado warnings we've had, the National Weather Service say that these are tracking at 55 and even 60 miles per hour. So extremely, extremely fast storm motions with these storms here. So again, here's a quick track with these specific storms. Appomattox 320, that's 15 minutes. It may seem like it's still quite a ways away from you, but again, these are tracking so quickly that it's going to be on you before you know it. About a half hour till Charlotte Courthouse, and then Farmville around 3:52. So again, these are going to be racing to the east, probably out of our viewing area within the next hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most, John.
And as we mentioned before, I mean, this storm is going to move through very fast where you are, 50 miles an hour as it progresses across. That's still plenty of time to do significant amounts of damage. And also, I don't know if we're picking up an opportunity for some straight line winds. I really don't see much of that bow factor going on, but maybe down in through portions of eastern sections of Pittsylvania County headed towards Halifax, we may see some straight line winds. If nothing tornadic from this, we're still going to see some gusty winds out ahead of this. More than likely, this purple here is some hail that is falling through, and rainfall rates more than likely are around the 1 to 2 inch per hour rate, which means that we are going to see some localized flooding. Here is a look at the hail, nothing really being picked up by that, so that was heavy rain that I was looking at. And as we do see, you just zoomed in there to north of the Danville area. Here is where our indicator is for the hail. Hail about the size 1.2 inch, so that's pretty good size. That's about a hen egg size of hail. That's pretty impressive. And again, right there on Highway 29 north of Danville. Up further to the north in the Gretna area, just to the east of Gretna, we're seeing some hail falling on areas in that region. In fact, again, there are a lot of towns in the region, a lot of smaller towns, not necessarily these big towns that we're looking at here, but also as we zoom in closer, we are noticing that there are a lot of people in the path of this very large storm complex that's moving on through. In fact, if we could put the radar back out there for you and show you what's going on, I'm surprised there's not any hail with that. That's pretty significant. But overall, what we are looking at is a lot of rain in through this region. In fact, I don't know if we can get super close on this, Taylor, and that way we can see what little towns are located underneath this. Again, all right, there it is. So 360, we were just talking about that, from Keeling over toward Birch. That is where we're seeing some significant rain. I'm just a little curious about what's going on in through this region, through the area. As again, if there is not a tornado that drops from this, we are still seeing a lot of rain and a lot of wind. What are we noticing on the radial velocity Anything?
Well, okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to circle the area I'm looking at right now. Right there, that interests me. Whenever you see the bright greens or the bright reds, that's where we may have the issue, John. So again, this is tracking to the north and east. So if I remove that real quick here, we're going to see that that tracks toward potentially Birch, High Rock, and then further on out here, Elkhorn, Rosa, and into northern portions of Halifax County. That's my concern at this point. Danville, the rain you're receiving right now is not due to the tornadic storm or the potentially tornadic storm that we were talking about.
This is more or less what that is, right? That has moved away.
Yes, yes. That big storm with the pink in there, that is our potentially tornadic storm. Again, nothing confirmed on the ground at this point, so I just want to make that clear, but still it is a dangerous situation as this storm tracks to the north.
What's further to the south of Danville, if we can see, there's a lot of action going on down in through portions of North Carolina as well. So again, as you were noticing, it's flowing from south-north, but also slow. It's kind of slowly going from west-east. So it's not as fast as that 50-mile-an-hour would seem. Is that correct?
Right, yeah. So basically what's happening is these individual storms are screaming to the north, but the whole line itself is slowly trailing to the east. So that's just kind of a gradual trail to the east. We'll eventually get these storms to South Boston and then Charlotte counties, Appomattox counties over the next hour or so.
We did see, what was South Boston, 73 degrees?
Yeah. I mean,
earlier, 72, 73, something like that.
Crazy warm, and only, what, 40 miles to the west in Martinsville, we were looking at temperatures in the 40s. So a big-time difference there due to the wedge. That kept many of us in the Roanoke Valley and along the Blue Ridge quite cool today and probably saved us from seeing any real significant severe weather.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, what we're talking, everybody says the wedge. We're talking about this cold pool of air that maintains a presence over the region. It actually dams up against the Blue Ridge Mountains and really sets up camp for a while. And what was happening today was we were trying to well, we weren't trying to do anything. What we were watching was these storms coming up from the south and eroding that cold air because, of course, the air was much warmer to the south. And what we noticed, though, from Lynchburg through to Roanoke, Union Hill, in through portions of our area was mainly a cooler scenario. So, again, that was why we are probably in the less than severe area. And, of course, the line of storms have moved through the area without much fanfare, although there have been some trees knocked down, and we are noticing that. But we do have, is this a new severe thunderstorm warning?
Yes, that was just issued a few minutes ago. It includes Lynchburg, as well as Amherst, Appomattox, Campbell, and Charlotte counties. In effect,
from South Boston up, right?
Yes, correct. So a wide area. This is mainly for the straight line wind effect. It's good news that this was not a tornado warning that was issued, and we're looking at potentially 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail up to quarter size. So that's about an inch in diameter for you folks in the line of this storm, and it's issued until 4:15 this afternoon.
Right, and so this is basically for about another hour. Is what we have. We're at 3:15 right now. Now, again, these storms, although they're not, everybody gets upset about the tornadic activity or focused on that, that's not the only aspect of these storms. Most dangerous aspect, nonetheless. But there are also other factors involved with these, and the good news is that we have this that will more than likely expire in about 3 minutes. As this tornado warning in through portions of Pittsylvania County that did include the cell that raced through Danville at the time and is now up in through portions just ready to cross into Halifax County and head up in through portions north of South Boston. What's also in that area is the Roanoke River, which is basically at Randolph through the area. And so, again, that has already been listed as above flood stage or going to get to flood stage. So, again, there is a lot of localized flooding. In fact, here's the Roanoke River I was talking about here. It's over a little bit further to the east. But overall, we are continuing to watch this batch of heavy, heavy rain move on through.
John, let me interrupt you real quick. The initial tornado warning that's on your screen right now has been allowed to expire, and that's the northern one that's the arrow is pointing to right for 3:15. Yep, that has been allowed to expire, so that's good news for those of you in central Pennsylvania County. The southern warning is still in effect until 3:30 this afternoon, and no word yet whether or not they're going to expand that warning, or really no word as to whether there's been any reports of tornadoes or even funnel clouds in this storm yet.
Right, yeah, we're going to get our news crews over and get involved in it. We should get in touch with the folks in Danville to see if there have been any reports of damage in that region. And again, the cell cell that moved on through is still this one, right, Taylor, that we're looking at moving in through towards Halifax County as we
yes,
speak?
I think this is our storm right here that I'm zooming in on with the pink core there. That's the most intense, no doubt about it, and it's got a little bit of an appendage on this southern edge here, and that's often what we look for in tornadic cells, and that's often where a tornado is going to develop, if anywhere. So once again, I'm going to take a look at the velocities, which tell us, again, the radar is able to tell us the different directions the rain that is scanning is moving in. So greens are toward the radar, the reds are away from the radar, and when those are tightly together, especially when you see the brighter colors.
Right in through here.
Yeah, that's where we have the concern. So there, again, continues to be a general area, nothing too concerning that I'm seeing at this point, but I'll be keeping a close eye on that and seeing if our velocity numbers here on the radar are increasing by any means.
Right. What about, how about the lightning? Is there any way we can pop the lightning up on these to see? You know, it's not, there's been a lot worse with this lightning,
for
so
sure.
That isn't that big of a deal. Of course, it only takes one lightning strike to start a fire, but again, look at this core right in through here now.
And with this latest scan, John, I'm concerned about, again, this little appendage that developed
here,
right there. Okay, that's the area we're going to be watching right now. And again, this storm is tracking, it was tracking pretty quickly to the north and east. What I did notice, though, I'm going to loop this real quick here. Notice it kind of slows down a little bit and actually takes a right turn. Right turns are pretty common with tornadic supercells. That's something that a lot of meteorologists keep an eye on. It's not a significant turn here, but it does take a little bit of a jog to the right there. You see that often with tornadic storms, so that's something we're watching. If it continues to do that, it's not out of the question that it could go all the way to the right toward Halifax, the town of Halifax in Halifax County.
Just kind of jogging over in this direction?
Yes, correct. So that's something we'll need to watch. Again, I think that's our main storm, and it looks like a new tornado warning has just been issued for that storm. That includes Campbell, Charlotte, Halifax, Pittsylvania counties until 3:45. At 3:14,
up this way.
a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Ridgeway, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour.
Let's stop this and zoom in as tight as we can. Well, let's show the the overall.
Yeah, let's show the general area of this just to let everyone know who's in this warning. I'm going to go ahead and quickly remove the radar just so we can get a look at that, and I'll take the lightning off real quick. Again, Campbell as well as Charlotte and Halifax, Pennsylvania counties, all of you are in this warning until 3:45 this afternoon.
Right, here's the bottom of Campbell County and Charlotte and again Halifax as well. Again, Highway 501 that runs through here will be a focus for us to use as a point of reference, and we put the radar back up on that. We will notice that this cell, this is the one that we're more than likely concerned about. Is that not correct, Taylor?
Yeah, without a doubt, that's the one right there.
Okay, and as it progressed across, now Halifax, the town is right in through this, right at that little notch.
Correct.
So again, this could jog east, or it could move on the path up to the north and east. What are your thoughts on that? Oh, there we go. We're looking right in through here, correct?
Yep. Again, it's whenever you see the reds and greens, you're concerned when they're next to each other, so that's something we're definitely watching, and this is the area where if there's going to be a tornado, that's the area where it's going to develop. So that's the area we need to watch on radar. And again, the latest scan on radar, that is not good. That little appendage right there, that is
down into the south there. Let's zoom in as tight as we can down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
See what town is in that region, and what we'll notice is
High Rock.
Yep,
Get in your shelter right now.
Exactly. So this is a tornado warning. This is not a storm that may produce a tornado. Well, it is a storm that may produce a tornado. But again, if we're looking something right in through here, this little, what Taylor was calling the appendage. Again, what is the speed of this? They were saying, what about?
The speed of the whole storm?
Yeah, possibly this is slowing down. So it's, a good thing we lost that. But it does look like it is moving up towards the High Rock area.
Yeah, that general direction is going to be a dangerous area, no doubt about it. 360, looks like this is probably going to stay just to the north of Highway 360 there. But again, the general direction toward 501 is the area to watch.
As well, again, Ingram, Henry's Mill, High Rock, Meadville, we are concerned for your safety. This storm will move through in a period of time that will be seeming like an eternity when it comes on through, but it'll only be about 15 minutes. My point is, right now is the time for you to get into your sheltered area of your home. Get in the center of your home, get a blanket and cover your face, because the problem with a lot of windy scenarios that come across us is that debris gets picked up and gets moved about. And that is where it is a very problematic scenario for folks on the ground. So again, here it is, Highway 501 and the Halifax areas in through there. We're also looking at the progression moving through, well, High Rock at about 325. There we go, Crossroads at 348. So Aspen a little bit further out, 355. Right now it's 20 minutes after 3, so you have time to prepare and shelter in place, if you will. And even if there isn't a dropping of a tornado in this area, which we are indicating that there is the possibility for that to occur, there's going to be lightning. There's also going to be very gusty winds and significant rainfall as well. So again, localized flooding is a concern. We are under a flood watch through the area. We are seeing significant amounts of rain. We have had a lot of rain over the past several days, and that snow melt as well. So this is something that we are concerned about, in addition to the possibility of these tornadoes. So, Taylor, are you noticing anything extra that's going on with this? It does look like it is getting a little bit more circular in nature as well, so it's kind of packing up.
We've got a couple of, I'd say, good things, or at least one good thing to mention from the National Weather Service. The tornado warning that was in effect until 3:30 has been canceled early. That was the one that was in effect for the city of Danville. So, for those of you in Danville, you are in the clear at this point as far as immediate tornadoes are concerned.
But there's still some significant amount of rain that's moving through the area.
So don't go running outside immediately to check things out. It's still rather unsafe out there. And again, this tornado warning remains in effect. It's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. Was located over Keeling, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. Okay, so let's zoom in as tight as we can. We can see that we can pick up those towns a little bit better when we get in tighter, and they show up automatically on our radar. And again, the Keeling area was back down in through off to our west there, and so now this cell has slid across and is moving up in through portions towards Meadville, High Rock. So again, it kind of took a northerly jog from our initial thought, maybe going over towards the High Rock area. But again, it is continuing moving up towards Elkhorn and Sign Rock, excuse me. So as we do zoom into this with our radial velocity, there's this little bright green right in here, a little darker red. Walk us through that, Taylor. Yeah, again, I'm not seeing anything that screams at me, oh, there's obviously a tornado on the ground at this point. So it's still worrisome enough for the tornado warning to be warranted, but nothing that screams mass panic at this point. And is there some hail with this? There's a possibility that when you see this major purple sign here, oh, there you go. Yep. There's been a trail. Maybe we can even loop this and loop and hail, but for the most part, we have almost 2-inch hail. Yeah, that's like tennis ball size hail. Is that not? That's closer to hen egg. So either way, it's a big stone coming from the sky. That's for certain. Yeah, no doubt about that. So and again, probably like moving across from there we go. There's the loop, and you can see it leaving a trail as it moves up through just in the north of the Keeling area, I believe. And again, that's this here. Is in the Halifax County region, and we had a pretty good batch of hail move through Seneca, if you're noticing that. And so, again, we are seeing, maybe we should go up north and see what's going on in the Lynchburg area as well. As Lynchburg's clear, that's not bad, but look at, as we're looking here up towards Appomattox, that is a bit of a concern, as well as we're starting to see some significant rain move through that area. And this is a good artery here. This is 460 moving through from Lynchburg south of Stonewall, and then in through, what do we got in through this area here? If we zoom in a little bit tighter. I believe that's Appomattox. That is the Appomattox area. Okay, there we go. So again, this is where we are seeing the initial phases of some significant weather moving through the area. There has not been, with this, a lot of lightning. I mean, these storms aren't exactly those giant 70,000-foot high clouds that we see, but there is enough action going on in there to warrant the opportunity for us to see the possibility of some tornadoes in and around portions to the south. We have some hail, and we would follow this up towards the Appomattox area if this whole batch of
large and intense storms moves up through to the Appomattox area, again, you are going to be seeing some trouble there. Good news is it does appear that the purples have relaxed a bit, but have reinvigorated down in through portions in the Halifax County area, as this batch, probably the one that we're concerned about for the rotation. Is that not correct, Taylor?
Yes.
Is this one we're still watching for that?
Yep, and again, I just want to reiterate this warning that was in effect for the city of Danville has been canceled, so no concerns for the city of Danville at this point. It looks like, again, the main storm to watch is going to be this one with the pink on it, that pink core with the heavy rain and the hail. That looks to be the one. I'm going to look a little bit further south here just in case we're missing something here in Pittsylvania County, and scope it over here with our look at the velocities. Not noticing anything too significant there, so I think we are okay. Still showing the warning here, at least for eastern Pennsylvania, so perhaps that warning was allowed to expire just for the city of Danville, but is still in effect for eastern Pennsylvania. Either way, if you're in eastern Pennsylvania or western Halifax County, please take shelter until these are allowed to expire.
Yeah, and that is something that, again, we are talking about a couple of cells that are of significance here. Mainly, we have been focusing in on this cell that has crossed over and really maintained a fairly decent presence. This is the one that's been dropping that large hail through the region and is continuing to migrate or march off in through portions of the northern sections of Halifax County, but also in towards the Appomattox region. We are watching some significant rain and possibly some lightning move through as well. And again, this line extends all the way up through to the north, but extends all the way down and through the central portions of North Carolina. So we're continuing to watch this. Taylor, have we seen any reports at all of any damage that might be coming through with this?
Not with these storms. We've had several reports of power lines being knocked down, tree branches knocked down as well, and all in all, just things along that line. Maybe some quarter-size hail, and actually a report of golf ball-size hail earlier in Patrick County. But it might be a little too early to get those reports in and reported to us as far as this storm is concerned. But would not be shocked if there's some hail damage. Hopefully, no tornado damage. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Maybe we can put this in motion again and expand the whole line to show you what is going on. If we could actually go down further, look at again. There's another tornado warning down in through portions of North Carolina. Now, the concern for later tonight is as this does march its way across into the I-95 corridor, those folks are going to be indeed in for a bit of a tough time. Also, right there in the notch, in through sections around the Appomattox County area, does look like some pretty strong storms moving through that region. I guess at least a lot of rain moving through this region as well. So that is something that I'm a bit concerned about as well, because again, we have been very, very wet, and we continue to see a lot of rain coming through the region. And again, just crossing in through Appomattox County as we're continuing to watch this through. Appomattox is located right here. And again, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning. There is a very intense storm moving through the region, so that is something to keep an eye on. But again, we're talking the ability for this storm to drop possibly 1.5 inches. There it is.
Yep.
Just got issued.
Just issued. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Mike, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. I'm assuming Mike is a town. So
yes.
Not a guy named Mike, but still.
So let's do in here. We'll put the velocity on top of this for us and see if we can't. Let's see something in through just along the county line. Is looking like an opportunity for something significant going on there.
Yeah. Let me look at this real quick.
All right. And check that.
Oh boy, that's not good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right in through here, correct?
Yeah, look at those. Okay, do you see the bright red? I'm going to circle.
Section in here.
Yep, bingo. Yep. That's an area of concern, no doubt about it. And they got some bright greens just north of that as well. So that is a bad combination. And again, this is in effect until 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, okay.
Yes. So take shelter if you're in Appomattox County. This is heading in the general direction of the town of Appomattox. So again,
460, right?
Yes.
Yep. Now, Pamplin City, as well as in this Concord as well. I mean, we are really seeing a fairly wide swath, and again, concern for possible tornadic development in this cell as it moves across, and the metropolis area or the large town of Appomattox is going to be pretty much in the teeth or in the path of this. But That is another one, and these are really starting to feed on the warmer air that they're moving into. And again, as we're looking at Danville, it does appear that we're still seeing some rain through that region, but we still have an opportunity with this cell in through here to have an opportunity to continue to be possibly tornadic as we are watching that. This cell has just popped for the possibility of a tornado. And then also, I just noticed off to the west, we have a wind advisory that has been issued by the National Weather Service for the Roanoke area. So we are going to see windy conditions as we move through the next 12 or so hours. So this line of significant storms is affecting the central Piedmont and in through portions of south side. As we go through the night tonight, we're going to continue to keep an eye on the windy scenario that is moving on through. So again, this is problematic. We'll just zoom into this cell if we can, Taylor, and check out what's going on as, oh, there you see it. Okay.
At the very least, there is, whenever you see these pinks and the reds, that's a sign again of some heavy precipitation or some hail. And whenever you have that, that means there is a very strong updraft, and this storm has a lot of punch to it. So a lot of energy with this, and a tornado is basically that updraft spinning and then reaching all the way down to the ground. So with a lot of spin in the atmosphere today, that was one of our main concerns, is if we had a storm develop in this area, it was going to rotate really quickly, and we're seeing that come to fruition this afternoon.
And something you had talked about, and we were talking about this earlier today, and the fact that if these cells kind of integrate themselves from each other, they have a better opportunity for tornadic development to occur, as if they were in a nice long line, you know, then that would probably be more in line with the straight line winds as we've seen here so often as well. But again, this is more than likely the possible tornado that is moving in through portions across Highway 460. What is the speed of this, Taylor? I didn't quite get that. But
it is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour.
Okay, so significant speed with this, but if you are in the Evergreen, Anderson, Dillwell, and even in through Farmville, as well as Appomattox, this is the time to get into the center portion of your house. There has not been a visual from this. This is indicated by Doppler radar. What Doppler radar does is it goes what we've been doing. It goes inside the cloud and sees if there is rotation inside that cloud. And if it notices the rotation inside that cloud, the National Weather Service issues the opportunity for us to see a possible tornado dropping from the bottom of this. First, we'll see the funnel cloud, and then a tornado is actually the funnel cloud that makes it to the ground. That's what we're concerned about right in through here. We were watching it develop over the past couple of 15 or so minutes, and then all of a sudden the National Weather Service did issue the tornado warning for that area. So,
all right, John, we got a report here of power lines down on Route 58 outside of Danville near a nursing home in Chatham. So that's our first report of any sort of damage in that portion of Pittsylvania County.
Right, and that was really where we started all this activity when we broke into programming to talk to you about this. It was the possible tornado that we were noting from the National Weather Service and from our radar that was right along the Highway 29 corridor. And again, so obviously some straight line winds moved through there. There was a report of a funnel cloud south of the Chatham area. Is that not correct? Is that what I
around
remember?
Chatham, the Chatham area, yes.
Okay, yeah. So again, that is what was occurring with that. They're not all clear just yet, as a matter of fact. So there are still some significant amounts of rain moving through that region. And again, if we do take a look, there are still two active tornado warnings. This one is set to expire in about 15 minutes, I believe. It was 3:45?
3:45, yes.
Okay.
So it's 3:32 right now.
And right there, this is something that we're concerned about still. Let's zoom in on that and see if we can't show you what is in the line of fire, if you will, from that. And again, you could see this is Highway 501, Brookneal. Okay, if you're in Brookneal right now, you want to get into the center portion of your house. You want to maintain a safety in place area. What are we noticing from this, Tail? Let me back a little bit out of the way. Anything major that you're finding in the radial velocity?
Not really. There are some bright greens on there that concern me a little bit.
Down in through the bottom, up in through right along 501?
Right, correct.
And also up in through here, right, south of Brookneal?
Right. So again, it's nothing that extremely confident at looking at, but it's worrisome enough that you need to take shelter if you're in Brookneal. This is going to pass pretty close to Brookneal, so I know there's a fairly dense population in that part of that region. So all in all, it looks to be heading toward more populated areas. Still no reports of any confirmed tornadoes on the ground with either of these tornado warnings, but again, it is entirely possible as we move through the afternoon.
And again, and that is what we've been concerned about when all this activity was set to move into the warm atmosphere that has overtaken the central Piedmont and south side. All right, here we go. Look at this. There's possibly some hail right through the Appomattox area, as you're noticing. This is the tornado warning. So, again, no real signature jumping out at us from this other than the opportunity for that hail probably through in here. But, okay,
I'm going to circle the area I'm concerned about right there. Okay,
there you go.
See
look how bright that red is.
Yep,
right in through there to the south. Okay, so, and the progression of this would be, is it more of an easterly or northeasterly flow? Go ahead, Taylor.
National Weather Service is saying north and east with this one around 40 miles per hour, so it looks like it is likely going to avoid Appomattox proper, but
zoom maybe in tighter and see if there's any little hamlets and such through there. Again, okay, Evergreen.
Evergreen looks to be heading straight your direction.
Right, so if you are in Evergreen right now, if you are in Hicksburg, if you are in Hurtsville, if you are in anywhere near this area along the 460 corridor, you want to make sure that you are in a safe place right now. You are in what we call shelter in place, stay in, maintain that for a good period of time until we get the all clear from the National Weather Service. And again, you can see the path of this. We're going to pop some towns in there, and you are seeing, again, Evergreen, we just talked about that. That is right in the path, right through here. And what Taylor was looking at was the signature, possibly, of a rotation inside this complex storm system as it is moving up through to the north and east. And again, 460 Evergreen, be in the center portion right now of your house, in your basement. Prepare, get into your storm shelter, if you will. Andersonville, excuse me, is also in the path. It should be there by about 4 o'clock. So that's still plenty of time for this to maintain itself and also move in a different direction. This is estimated where these are going. These storm cells have a mind of their own. They are doing what they want. The general path is to move up through to the north and east. We haven't, again, had many reports of what's going on as far as the damages, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. We just haven't heard of it yet. 501 right in through here. Look at this cell, Taylor, just moving in through the edge, the outer edge of the tornado warning that was set to expire right through Brookneal.
Yeah, at the very least, this is likely dropping some pretty significant hail. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick. May not have updated, but this is probably your hail core right here on the bottom and now the center of your screen. I'm going to go ahead and take a radar estimate of this 1.7 inch. So that's where you get the golf ball size hail and close to hen egg size hail. That's going to cause damage to your car.
That caused damage to your car, caused damage to your siding, caused damage to your roof. Those large of a hailstone is extremely problematic. So again, if you are in the Brookneal area, you are definitely in line for some significant weather to move on through. You are still in the tornado warning area. This storm right now, very heavy rain, at the very least, very heavy rain. Is there any lightning with this, Taylor? We're seeing if there's anything popping through there with the lightning. Again, this is an electric storm. We are keeping an eye on that for you. This is Highway 40 as it marches all the way through to Phoenix. And here is... Here we go, Brookneal, right in through. Is there something?
Yeah, you know, that is concerning right there. That's not the typical location where you would find your hook and then your couplet. The rotation basically is what I'm trying to say there. But it's usually on the southwest side of the storm, especially when it's moving in a northeasterly direction. But there appears to be, you know, a little bit of an appendage there, so can't rule anything out. Typically, I would be keeping my eye on this area right here. Again, the southern or southwest portion of the storm is the area most likely to have that rotation, and then eventually the tornado. So we'll keep an eye on that. So
and moving up towards Wren. as well as the Phoenix area.
Zoom in a little bit closer to see nearby towns there. Terryville, Aspen, probably not Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill's probably okay. The rotation may be near Clarkton, so if you are in Clarkton, take shelter immediately. Martin Store, North Halifax, those type of areas.
Yeah, and again, what we're watching are a number of different cells that are continuing to show signs of tornadic activity in this. And again, we still officially have a few minutes with this tornado warning. Not be surprised if they extend this out. And include it for probably another half hour or so. This cell, Taylor, doesn't really look like it's showing any signs of diminishing or releasing its intensity at all.
No, not at all, really. And the key, like you were talking about earlier, is these storms are isolated enough so they can get that warm, moist air to continue to inflow into the storm, and that's what it feeds off of. And as long as it has that, it's going to keep going and going. It's when those storms merge together into a line where that warm, moist air has nowhere to go, and that's when they begin to die, and that's when you start to see the tornado threat diminish. And we'll hopefully see that sooner than later. Even with those lines, you're going to have a straight line wind threat that's possibly going to cause damage as well.
Right. I know everyone here remembers the derechos of a couple of years ago that moved on through here. These are not them. These are more what we have, these isolated cells that are moving on through the region. So again, these are the ones that are going to be more indicative of what's going on as far as the possibility for some tornadoes to move on through. So again, we have the tornado warnings in place. We have not yet seen them issue another one for this cell that is moving through to the north and east. The tornado warning for the Appomattox County area is still problematic. But again, there's a severe thunderstorm warning that just got issued as well. You can see it right in through here. That's until 4:45. Dillwyn is included in that. Again, moving in through portions of Highway 60 as it crosses through this line of showers and thunderstorms. Heavy showers and thunderstorms are in place now. We still have at 3:45 expiration date. That is 5 minutes from now. But it was mainly for this cell. But we're watching some other things brewing just to the east of the Chatham area, and another cell popping up in through along the border between the counties of Pennsylvania and Halifax as well.
Yeah,
so that's another one.
And that's where you start to worry about the flash flood threats when you have these storms train and then follow the same path. But especially as heavy as these storms are, that's where you look at potential for some urbanized flooding, and even non-urbanized flooding is definitely a concern across Halifax County, and then moving further to the north here around Campbell County, especially in this large core of this gigantic storm moving near and just north and east of Brookneal. There's going to be some heavy rain with that storm.
That is true. And we do have a reporter, Bill Waddell, is en route to do some storm chasing with these cells. So we'll be keeping in contact with him. He will more than likely pop up the camera that he has in his car, safely, of course. But we're going to keep an eye on all this as he heads into the storm line. And again, looks further to the south. They still have those tornado warnings down in through portions of North Carolina. Continuing through. And here's Bill driving in a relative quiet zone, but I don't know if you could see this off in the distance. I can't go over top of it, but I'm not sure exactly where he is. Rob, where is he in this? Okay, so he's at 460 heading towards the Lynchburg area. So if we can get in on that, we can zoom in a little bit. I'll get out of the way. And again, what we're looking at here, just moving on through towards Lynchburg, and we're sending him out actually in towards this region. Again, here it is, and again, I'll get out of the way, but as he is heading to the east, what we are noticing is you can see that bank of clouds. That's pretty impressive off in the distance. Beautiful blue sky, and then boom, you're going to run into that line of embedded thunderstorms. And what I am noticing, though, in that picture, there's not a lot of lift to those, is there? Unless it's far enough away, I really can't tell.
Yeah, I mean, I believe he took off not too long ago from Roanoke, so that's still a little ways away. But you may have noticed a little bit of bubbling at the top of those clouds. That's called an overshooting top. What happens is eventually when a cloud rises, it reaches a point where it kind of levels out, but there's so much momentum with these storms that are developing that the cloud actually shoots through that layer, and you see kind of a little round top to that's called an overshooting top, and that just tells you how powerful these storms have been this afternoon.
Yeah, and that is true. And again, there are a number of storms that we are keeping an eye on. Again, this is the one that I guess Bill is going to be chasing after right now as it does move on through to the north and and east towards the Dillwyn area.
And still a strong signature. I'm going to circle it once again. That is really concerning. Well, that was not my best circle, but you get the idea. It's right around there.
That right in through here.
Yeah, that we're seeing that strong, it's called gate-to-gate shear, basically winds moving in different directions at strong levels, and that's where the most likely scenario for a tornado at this point with this storm.
Right, exactly, and as you can see, we're actually, it just so happens to point right to that, this is the area of concern. Maybe we can get in a little tighter, see what's around this region, and tell folks, we definitely have been talking about, there's no towns are actually showing up in here.
It's pretty rural at this point.
But that doesn't mean that it's not going to maintain a presence and move off in through some of the towns located up through to the north and east of that.
Yeah, that looks to be finally clearing out of our viewing area list, at least toward other portions of central Virginia. So that's good news that it's leaving our area. Still keeping an eye on this second storm here, and it looks like there may have been a new tornado warning that was issued.
See, exactly. We were figuring they were going to expand that because, again, it marched through the Brookneal area and really maintained a presence as it did go through there. And Wren, we had talked about that town. Hopefully you are in your safe place. Also in through Rough Creek and Hat Creek and Madisonville also. So this new tornado warning has been expanded all the way through till 4:15. So we have another half hour of this, and the expanse of it does have it heading off in through portions of the central Piedmont, so where it already is anyway. But again, if you're in Wren, obviously just to the north of 40, Phoenix, Rough Rock, again, you're seeing some winds coming out ahead of this as it is marching through in this direction to the north and east. Here is the signature for the radial velocity. What are you telling us? Look, it's a little bit brighter in here.
Yeah, that's the area I was keeping an eye on, and that looks to be the best chance for any circulation at this point. Again, it's just to the south of Wren, and this is moving to the north and east, so it's going to be a close call for Wren, maybe intersecting Wren and Rough Creek. If you're around that area, please take shelter at this point, and that's going to continue to track north and east toward the general Madisonville area. So folks in Madisonville, take your tornado precautions right now. Lowest level of your home or innermost level of your home. If you're in a mobile home, you have maybe about 15-20 minutes left, and you've got to hurry and find a safer place. A mobile home is a place you do not want to be during a tornado warning, no doubt about it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, what you were talking about to the southern end of that, you can see the signature coming through. We got your little appendage moving through now. It just has disappeared as we got a new radar sweep. But for the most part, again, this is if nothing else, a very heavy rain, the opportunity for some hail. We've seen reports, estimated reports of hail about the size of a golf ball or a hen egg, if you will, and that is from this cell that is marching across the area. Again, heading towards the 460 region. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a reporter that is headed toward that region. We will hopefully hear from him and see what he's seeing on the ground. We also still are seeing the storm cells in through portions of the Halifax County area and through Pennsylvania as it is moving up towards 501. There's still a fairly strong cell back in through portions of northwestern sections of Halifax County as we monitor this batch of rain, possibly some hail moving through as well. But this is really where we're concerned about the opportunity for some possible tornadoes or a tornado, and this is the other area of concern for us. So we're giving you two areas where our two separate warnings for tornadoes with these as we continue to monitor through. These are marching up through to the northwest. I'm also noticing, Taylor, you can help me with this as well, that we're seeing more of a northwesterly flow. It used to be more of a straight, south to north trajectory with these. Now they're starting to push over a bit as well. And what is that an indicator of? Is it just moving in and getting faster up here in the warmer air, or what can you tell us about that?
I think the main reason for that is this whole storm is centered over the Ohio River Valley, and that's actually tracking to the north. So as this line continues to kind of drift to the east, it's losing a little bit of the momentum that it would have if it was closer to that low pressure system. So it's going to kind of maybe I would expect it to slow down a little bit, these storm motions, as it continues to drift to the east through the remainder of this afternoon because of that.
Maybe we can pull out again and just give people a perspective of what's going on with all of this.
Give you the big view here, the regional view real quick.
Yeah, and again, obviously, we are pretty much in the line of intense storms as it extends all the way from Hagerstown, Maryland, back down in through to Charlotte, North Carolina. And we are right in the center portion of that line, just to the west of Raleigh. They're seeing some tornadoes. There's also some tornado warnings issued down in the southern portion of North Carolina. And again, where we are, we're also, as we move through time, when does this come into play? This is a wind advisory, I believe, if my colors are proper.
Yes,
but,
yes, that's, I believe, in effect. Let me double check real quick. I believe that's in effect now until 7 o'clock on Friday. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
And right through Floyd County, right in through here, we're seeing a cell move on through. It looks like when it went through Mount Airy, it was pretty intense and kind of polyped up there and is now dissipating as it moves in through the central portion of Floyd County. But again, our focus is all on this line from Charlottesville back down through to South Boston. South Boston right now is a concern because a very populous area there. The Dan River runs into that region. We have flood warnings for the Dan River, so we're adding a lot more moisture to the water table in and around portions of the South Boston area. There's some significant rain, and then we continue to see this is the cell that possibly has the tornadic activity. This is the other one that we're continuing to monitor that's moving up past the Appomattox area towards that region. So we've passed Brookneal. We've incorporated today within the past hour. We've had Danville, Chatham, Brookneal, Appomattox. South of Lynchburg is the problem as well. But again, these are tornado warnings issued by the National Weather Service for the visualization by radar inside the cloud that there might be some rotation. Although we did have a report, was that in south of Chatham where the funnel cloud was reported?
Yes,
by emergency management personnel? So again, that again shows us that there is some significant activity going on. This loop is fairly long. What do we go back about 12 hours with this one? No, I mean, it's good.
Yes.
6 hours?
Yes.
Okay, so basically what we're seeing is that really kind of firing up as we got into that warmer air. If you notice today in the Roanoke area, we really were on the cool side. Temperatures were in the 40s and maybe popped up to 50, I'm not sure, but in and around the South Boston area, Danville, they got up in close to 70 degrees. So that warm, juicy air moved up in, and of course, when all this activity coincided with that warm air, we had that opportunity to get these storms firing up. Now, what I'm noticing through here is this storm cell right here, just getting ready to go up through 460, is fairly problematic as far as the, it looks like we're seeing the amount of rainfall with this, if not hail, be very intense. But this is in the tornado-warned area. This is the other cell that we were talking about that moved in through the Appomattox area. See, this here is Appomattox, and then you could see that this cell moved up in through to the north and east of that. So again, we are still concerned about some action in and around the region. They are moving off into the central Piedmont area. This is Pamplin City, again, is in the teeth of this. Are you noticing anything spectacular with this? Anything moving in this area as far as development is concerned, Taylor?
Well, I'm just going to take a look here real quick at the velocities once again, and we'll go ahead and zoom on out. You know, nothing. It looked pretty intense not too long ago. This is, I would say, an improvement from that. Again, not seeing a whole lot out here, so that's good news. Maybe the heavy rains could be causing some outflow when you get those strong cold, strong and cold air reaching the ground from the rain and then spreading out. That kind of cuts off the juicy, warm inflow that it takes to get that storm to continue to spin. So that could very well be happening.
But that's gusty wind as well, right, along the surface.
So you get that at least as well. So it's not completely clear after that.
Oh, no, exactly. And again, the good news is that it does appear to be getting a little bit less organized, but still very, very impressive on radar, especially when you see the pink or the fuchsia color as well. And again, up and through to the north, this is still another cell that we're concerned about. Fortunately, this is moving away. Now,
I'm going to take the radar off real quick just to give an idea of the warnings we have here.
Oh, yeah.
They're extending out of our viewing area toward the Farmville area at this point, actually. Dillwyn as well under a tornado warning until later on this afternoon. This one here is till 4:30. Meanwhile, back down toward Charlotte County, we do have this tornado warning in effect, I believe, until 4:15. Yes, that doesn't include Charlotte Courthouse. So, again, take cover for the next 25 minutes or so until things clear on out.
Yeah, that is certain. And again, in addition to all of this is the fact that we have some flooding. Now, here's the cell that you were just talking about, right, Taylor? This is the one?
Yeah. This is the one of concern, and it's actually exiting Charlotte County, so that's good news for you folks there. And looking further to the south, this will be one to keep an eye on down there.
Exactly. Look at how is it progressing across towards the South Boston area, 501.
Yeah, I'll put this loop on real quick.
Okay.
And yep, at the very least, the heavy rainfall and probably hail with this is heading towards South Boston.
Right, and of course, out ahead of this, some gusty winds, I would assume, as well, as the rain is coming out and moving out forward as it does progress from west to east across into the South Boston area. So what we are looking at along Highway 501 is an opportunity for some gusty winds, possibly, I'm just estimating, 40, 50-mile-an-hour gusts will not be uncommon. And since we've been saturated, since we have been seeing rain this month, what are we, 5, 6, or 4, at least as of yesterday, 4 inches over the norm in the Roanoke area. Other areas more than that. So the ground is saturated. So whenever you have gusty winds and saturated ground, you have root systems that get compromised in this, and that's what's going on when you do see some of these trees knocked over and the whole root system comes up. That's mainly because we've had the root system get eroded away from all the mud underneath, and then these big winds come along and move it across. Again, a little concern with this. Yeah, there you go. Let's see what's going on with that. Anything jumping? Not.
I'm going to zoom in a little bit just to see if anything pops out. No, not really. Again, if any area is going to have rotation, it might be around here, but no real bright colors there, so that's definitely a good sign. And
definitely.
Again, could be some broad rotation, but any sort of tight rotation doesn't look evident on radar at this point.
Okay, what about any kind of activity as far as the hail? Can we put on I know that line of hail, the hail tracker, that can move across and show the path of these storms also is indicated by this. Sometimes even if you loop this, you can see that going across. I don't know if that's even possible.
Yeah, it is. Okay. We'll get this one here. This is the last hour, and yeah, that's pretty cool. You can see where those stronger storms tracked.
That is it's basically a history of the path of the storm indicated by the hail as it moved on through. And again, we were looking right in through. This was the cell that possibly popped into the funnel cloud that has. Wow, the hail there, what would that be, 2-inch hail?
That's where you get your tennis balls right there, yep.
It's tennis ball. Yep. That's pretty intense. And then this is the other cell. So really, we have been tracking the 2 cells. We have been watching them move on through. We are continuing to watch them track through by looking at the hail. The signatures on this hail track map is a very good tool to show us what has happened. And in addition to the fact to show where it has been, to where it's going. So again, if you are up in through and know folks up north of the region, again, this is Appomattox County right in through here. Again, moved through Campbell County, in through sections of the Charlotte Courthouse area as well. So again, pretty impressive. This is the possibility of some more hail going through here. The tornado warning that is, you see that red, that's the tornado warning. It's for a large area till 4:45, I believe. And again, it really doesn't matter the expiration time or whatever.
4:15, I believe. There are several warnings around here that are kind of combining and lapping over each other, but I believe 4:15 is the last, at least the latest warning to go through at this point. So.
Right. And again, what we were looking at with the hail is probably what this is in Pamplin City. And we're going to get Bill Waddell. We're going to see if we can't pick him up at one point or another while he's driving closer to the action as we will make sure that he stays out of harm's way. We'll keep him at a safe distance. But again, what are we noticing here in the Pamplin City area?
Again, nothing too organized.
There's Bill. Yeah, still driving and clear. That's an indicator to the fact that once he gets there, it's going to be right there. So this is a very finite area of the storms, as you can tell by the fact that we're in some blue sky right now.
Yeah.
So, and also the fact we're in blue sky could also lend it to us to see maybe there's a percolation process that we're worried about. If we warm up, what are our temperatures? Are probably what in and around.
We're warming up. That wedge is finally breaking free, and we're up to 58 right now in Roanoke, 59 in Martinsville, still at 68 in Danville, despite the fact that it just got rained on heavily over the past couple of hours. So,
is there an opportunity for us to maybe see some activity returning?
You know, it's not out of the question. We have seen a couple at least light storms redevelop further to the west here, including near the radar in Floyd County.
Yeah, exactly. Right over the radar spike. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this is tracking to the northeast. So severe, I doubt it, but a thunderstorm, you know, maybe a few rumbles of thunder out there and some heavy downpours are possible for the Roanoke metro area, probably within the next half hour, 45 minutes maybe.
Yeah, definitely. And again, as you see the color here, this is the brown. We do have a wind advisory, so we're going to see winds in excess of 20 to 30 miles an hour all the way through for the next couple of days, actually, in the area as the storm exits the region. And again, the red here are the tornado warnings issued by the National Weather Service. These tornado warnings are for 2 separate cells. These are 2 separate warnings, and we've been tracking them. Earlier today, we tracked a couple of cells that moved in through portions of Pittsylvania County, just north of Danville, south of Seneca, as it moved on through. We also, again, watched this cell kind of fire. There's something interesting firing up just there around Seneca as well.
Yeah.
See what that is all about.
I'm going to zoom in on that real quick and take a look at the velocity, if we can see anything.
Yeah, that is north of Brook. Now, Brook Neal has had some significant weather move through already. Again, we haven't had any reports of tornadoes on the ground as of yet, but we did have a report from an emergency management personnel from saying that there was a funnel cloud that he or she reported in the southern sections or just south of the Chatham areas earlier today. So again, concern north of 460 is probably a hail batch moving on through, but we still have the tornado warning that is in effect, so we maintain an eye on this cell as it moves on through. Anything jump out at you with the cell there in through portions to the south and west of that?
It's a mess. Bottom line, it is a mess. You can kind of see when you look at the radar loop, almost that storm kind of spinning a little bit. You can see those purples kind of wheeling around the storm. That's an interesting feature there. But
do you know, I did notice that that was the case on the radar before they issued the tornado warning for the one south of Appomattox. I believe I saw something similar to that.
Okay.
You know, but again.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, there is just a lot of rain training over the same area. So no flash flood warnings yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if there are some flooding issues around Appomattox, maybe Charlotte, Campbell counties as well over at least the next couple of hours here.
Yeah, that is true. And again, these couple of pockets of pink in through portions there of Appomattox County, as these cells are more or less exiting the viewing audience of us, but we still know people in the east, and we still are concerned about these cells that are continuing to move south of Appomattox.
And John, we have a report of multiple trees down in Evergreen in Appomattox County. That's an area we were watching for that pretty strong rotation.
That, I believe is right in through here, isn't it? We can zoom in tighter and find the Evergreen location. I'm thinking.
Yeah, let me zoom in down here real quick.
Yeah.
And that was just to the east of Appomattox, I believe, right?
There we go. Yeah, this is right where it crossed, right across, as we said earlier. Then maybe we can see that cell as it did move across through the region. We can back it up and go bit by bit south.
No, I think it might have been this right here.
This right here. This one, yeah, exactly. So out ahead of that, some significant damage there, and that was at the time, right? So we're back at time at 3:35. So we can see the time frame here as this moved across. What was the report there? Was
multiple trees down in Evergreen. That's all we have right now. So it's very early. So we'll probably learn more here, especially as things clear out over the next few hours.
We have Bill Waddell. He is en route to the region. Bill, do we have the camera? There he is. And again, you can see again on the other side of the hill. We are looking at a fairly decent bank of clouds. It looks rather innocuous, really, as you are driving into that. But again, he is getting into where it is the teeth of this. I can also notice, I believe that the road is wet, so we had some rain showers there earlier in the day. So again, this is our WFXR mobile cam. And Bill Waddell is in. And Taylor, you see the storm's kind of bubbling up a little bit there.
Yeah.
Just at the top. Go on and talk about that.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about not too long ago. It's, again, the momentum from these updrafts and these storms. Every storm has an updraft, so these clouds rise up, and what you get there is the momentum shooting through the troposphere, is the part of the atmosphere we live in, and the cloud typically flattens out. That's where you see the anvil, that flat top of the cloud, but there's so much momentum that the air punches through that and reaches into the lower portions of the stratosphere, or the stratosphere. So again, it's a lot of momentum there and a lot of juice and energy with these storms, and that's why we've seen the storms we've seen this afternoon.
All right, and again, you were noticing Bill just kind of ran into a fairly wet region as well. And as we mentioned, he is headed towards the Lynchburg area. He's on 460, and more than likely we will send him down towards the Evergreen area?
Yeah, let me, we just got a report here. Appomattox County Sheriff Barry Letterman says there are reports of structural damage and 1 injury so far.
Okay.
He was driving toward Pamplin and only seeing heavy rain, most reports coming from Evergreen and Red House. So again, that's in Appomattox County.
Right.
That storm, which is actually this storm right now, so anyone in line of this, as it tracks to the north and east, Hicksburg, maybe Allen's Mill, take shelter. There has been a history, maybe, of some tornadic activity based on what we're hearing from the National Weather Service.
Exactly. And again, Evergreen is just on back through this way. Yeah, there it is. Evergreen is where the reports are coming in. And not all clear yet. In fact, if we zoom out a little bit, you can see this other cell that is the one we've been concerned about, possibly getting a little bit intense as we move through the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. So again, this cell moving towards Pamplin City. So it seems like there is kind of a focus just to the south of Appomattox with these cells as they're moving on through. In Pamplin City, we've been mentioning that name a lot. We also talked about the Evergreen area as well. So again, here's Appomattox. You can tell by the way the highway diverges around there. So here's Appomattox, and again, this is 460 down to Pamplin City. The cell that produced all that is now exiting off, but this is moving in. So again, you might see a minor round 2 come through there. And the good news is a lot of times when you have one cell exit the area, it kind of sucks out a lot of the energy from that. But then also there's another opportunity that there could be some energizing factor with this as it churned things up. So again, I'm concerned now, looking here at South Boston, as we are looking at some very heavy rain come through there. The Dan River is fast and full. I'll tell you that right now. And there's some tornadoes that have been issued down in through portions of northern sections of North Carolina. North of Roxborough and west of Roxborough is more than likely the cell that they're concerned about. So that is not that far away from the South Boston. So if you're in South Boston right now, my advice to you is to get in to the center portion of your home. Be prepared to deal with some significant storms that are at your door right now. And we track this here. We got Woodside, Virginia, Everett, and Clarksville. So again, that is the path of this tornadic cell that has been dubbed that by the National Weather Service. And again, we're continuing to monitor all this activity in through portions of Halifax County, getting another shot. Danville, totally in the clear right now. It's probably some blue skies there. But again, assessing the damage that moved through there because, again, it was only about an hour ago. Highway 29 was getting hit very hard with these storms. The possible tornadoes moved through those areas. Where we're concerned now still is up in through the Appomattox area or south of it in Evergreen. There have been reports of an injury. Was it in Evergreen, the injury, Taylor? Or
let me check real quick.
Yeah.
Doesn't say exactly where.
Okay, but Appomattox County in general?
Yes, Appomattox County.
All right, so again, these storms have a history of producing some significant wind gusts through this, if nothing else. But again, the tornadic signatures indicated by Doppler radar were strong enough to issue the tornado warning by the National Weather Service. So it's this cell right in through here in the Farmville area, excuse me. But we're concerned also about this batch of rain that is moving in through an already damaged area. That's a problem. When we have Evergreen right here, and we have just to the south of that in Pamplin City, we have areas that are going to get rain on top of that. So again, maybe some power outages or maybe some exposed electrical wires or power down. I have no idea what's going on officially there, but I'm just saying the opportunity is there for some more problems as another cell marches through the area. And as we do take a look at our radial velocity, what are you pointing out there? Anything in through this region? Is that
purple there is just kind of some radar interference that we have to work around. But right here, it looks like we're kind of seeing the storm come out the other end and seeing a little bit of the bright greens and the bright reds right around that area.
Right through here.
So I'm going to go ahead and try to move this out of the way, and there's your location, south and west of Pamplin City.
Yeah, it does appear that this is moving up through to the north and east, though, so this whole batch could go up towards the Pamplin City area. Is that correct?
Yes, the general northeasterly path is what we're looking at this point. So, again, Pamplin City, you've been through it already. Stay put. I know the warning is set to expire at 4:15, but I would not be shocked if it's extended. And just to the east of town, actually, there's a tornado warning that's been issued until 4:30 this afternoon. That includes western portions of Farmville as well.
Right. And again, we're also continuing to keep an eye on the Halifax area and in through portions of South Boston, as just to the south of that area, in and around the North Carolina region, there have been tornado warnings firing up there. So again, this is kind of feeding on itself in kind of a line, if you will, further to the south. So again, this is something that we should definitely keep an eye out for over the next say 45 minutes or so. Right in through the Highway 501, right through South Boston as it intersects in through the region of 360. We are looking at, again, some pretty good rain that's moving on through. 360 runs right down through into the area and intersects in here with the 501. And again, that is a fairly, populous area. There is the Dan River that, as we mentioned, is running fast and full. It already is under a warning for flooding. So we really don't need any more added to that, but we are getting it. And we also have had significant reports of hail. Not reports, but indicated reports of hail from the national, or from our Doppler radar that can pick that up for us. So Taylor, what are you noticing here? Are you getting any reports in from this, or
no reports yet? We had I guess a report of quarter-size hail in Chatham a little while ago, but that's about quarter-size, so nothing too significant. Really, our main concern in our viewing area at this point is this tornado warned storm near Pamplin City that continues to track to the north and east at a pretty quick clip. So if you are in Pamplin City, even further off to the north and east in Hicksburg, take shelter. It's not over yet. So we continue to see these storms kind of revamp and then redevelop in this same line. It is gradually shifting to the east, so we will hopefully clear out here within the next hour or so and calm down for the rest of the evening. But again, it's this area that I was showing you a minute ago, and I'll show you again, circle that for you. Right around there, that could be trouble for us, and that's going to continue to track to the north and east.
And there has already been reports of damage in the Evergreen area, which is just right here at this notch.
Just to the north and east.
So again, and again, as this whole thing is kind of circulating around and exiting the area, the appendage or the end of this is what you're looking at, right?
Yeah, correct.
As it slides on through. So again, Pamplin City, we've mentioned it a lot. Center of your house, shelter in place. All the information that we can give you is stay safe, get in the middle. Now, a lot of times when there are tornadoes or very gusty winds, what people most get injured by oftentimes is the debris that is flying around. And the debris is very dangerous, so make sure that you are dealing with maybe a blanket over yourself as you get into the bathtub in the middle of the home. Don't stay away from exterior walls. It doesn't matter if it's a brick wall. I mean, if this is strong enough, we can move through there. Here is a look again at our roving WFXR mobile cam, and Bill Waddell is moving again towards the Lynchburg area. Has he gotten past the Bedford? Have we gotten in touch with him, Rob, at all, or is there any way to know exactly where he is? Okay, so he has moved past the Bedford area, which is right in through here, and is making his way towards Lynchburg. And we're obviously going to send him down into the Evergreen area more than likely to see what was progressing in that region. The electricity of this storm, Okay, and that is just confirmed. Thanks, Rob. He is heading down to the Evergreen area. So again, the electricity is intensifying a little bit north of Farmville. They're also down south. That's something we hadn't seen with these storms, right, Taylor? We noticed that they weren't as electric as they had been, or as they are right now. But as you can see down in the South Boston region, this is a pretty good storm complex, I guess is the best way to put it. As you can see this extending from this cell. Oh. You can see this cell right in through here. This is probably the do you think this is the tornado warning that was, or the cell that was prompted the issuance of the tornado warning?
Yes, absolutely. And that is tracking more actually to the north than to the east.
Yeah.
So
South Boston, get into your
just in case,
safe area.
Get in your safe place. Virgilina, definitely get into your shelter right now.
Yeah.
And if you're traveling on 58 between Clarksville and South Boston, maybe pull over or find a place that's safe for the time being as these storms pass.
What do we got? Can we zoom in here? Maybe we got a few towns that are in this hook here on 501. We have here Denniston. You're right in the teeth of some pretty big rain right now, maybe some hail. Christie as well. And again, this is Highway 501. Just to give you a reference, Highway 501 is going to be what we'll use as the point of reference for this cell as it is marching to the north and a little bit to the east, right, correct? As it moves on through. So again, Mayo is in line with all this, and as we are looking at this, just to the north there, that is South Boston. The Dan River is full and fast, so that's another concern for us as we're continuing to monitor this. There is a tornado warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service, and probably out of the Raleigh area, for this cell that has marched its way across into our region. So that is something that it looks fairly just like a big old lumbering storm, but down to the bottom is that where the concern is. So it hasn't quite crossed the border between North Carolina and the Commonwealth, but Mayo at 423, Midway 443, Scottsburg, again Kings Cross roads. These are the towns that are going to be in the path of what potentially could be another round of very strong storms, possibly tornadic, as we continue to monitor all this as it does go on through. So again, this is something that is not going away as we do continue to move on through. This is not really the time of year we expect to be talking a lot about tornadoes. The good news is, if there is some good news with this, is that the sun is already getting lower in the sky. We are at 414, so again, the angle of the sun is less, so that's not really contributing much to the percolation process.
John, we have a new tornado warning that's been issued, including South Boston.
Okay.
And that's for this developing storm right here. And boy, this is a massive storm. This includes...
This one in through here?
Yes, that whole big storm. This includes Charlotte and Halifax counties, lasts until 4:45 this evening. Again, this is radar indicated, nothing confirmed on the ground at this point, but I would suspect they may have received a report or seen something on the radar that would indicate there is something developing in this area right here, close to South Boston. So dangerous situation for sure.
Right, and if you are in Scottsburg or in Clays Mill, Kings Crossroads, any of these areas off into let me get out of the way. You can march on with that. Wolf Trap, South Boston, Scottsburg, fairly problematic. And right in through here, again, this area right on 360, as it just kind of drops down south of the Halifax area, in through the Scottsburg region. That is a problem. So get in your safe place. This is another one we're talking about. These are not going away today as we are continuing to watch this. What do you do? Something up in through here looks a little interesting.
You know, this storm's a little unusual. It looks like almost two cells have merged together a little bit, so oftentimes kind of messes things up a little bit, and you can't exactly tell where things are going. But yeah, where you pointed not too long ago, it looked like on velocity there, maybe something developing there. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see where that develops. But either way, if you're anywhere in the tornado warning box, again, take shelter. It's bottom line. That's all you have to do. Yeah,
that is basically the bottom line with this. And again, it is because we've been seeing these continue to march up from the south. And when we pull out, maybe we can go out further and show you the line of this that extends all the way down through the Carolinas. And
oh my goodness, almost every single storm is tornado warned on this line.
Okay, that's no fun.
The good news is this line is, again, very gradually trailing to the east. So this is probably going to to be the last batch that bothers us. It's going to be areas further to the east that will be dealing with this. But yeah, this is pretty amazing, and we may be seeing a little regional tornado outbreak this afternoon and this evening because of this.
And the problem, it's February, so we're not really expecting this type of intense tornadic activity move on through. And as we are looking at these lines that just continue to feed upon themselves and move on through. Now, are they starting? It does appear that what we're looking at is the tornado warning in through the South Boston area was a cell that we were watching the past 15, 20 minutes or so. So we're continuing to keep an eye on that as it moves up through to the north and east. So that's the latest tornado warning. That is until 4:45. But as you do take a look down and through North Carolina, this is the border, down in through North Carolina, there is an opportunity for more of these storms to feed upon themselves. This is I-95. It is a really good frame of reference, I-95 up through Richmond. All of this action is slowly marching in that direction, but it does appear we're seeing more of a south to north and very little movement through here. I mean, really, we started talking about an hour and a half ago in the Chatham area was where we first started talking to you about this. So, again, we are dealing with some significant storms that are moving on through. So it does appear, Taylor, that we're looking at some nasty weather that's coming our way.
Yeah, it's not letting up anytime soon, unfortunately, John. We still have 2 tornado warnings in our viewing area. The one here, including Halifax and Charlotte County, in effect until 4:45 this evening. National Weather Service indicated a storm capable of producing a tornado near Mount Laurel, moving to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. Again, we're going to check on this other tornado warning, which looks like has been allowed to expire, if I'm not mistaken. So that's definitely good news. Still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Appomattox County. This is for extreme eastern portions of that area. It does look like conditions are beginning to dry out there. So hopefully, if there was any damage, crews can at least begin to clean things up a little bit as skies begin to clear on out. And looking to the west, not a big deal to the west. Conditions have calmed down quite a bit. We're looking at maybe an isolated shower or storm near Roanoke. Doesn't look too significant. Maybe a brief downpour for southern Roanoke there, but no warnings issued for that at this point.
Yeah, that is true. And really, we're looking at this area continuing to maintain a presence of significant severe activity going through. And so, Taylor, tell us about what you see through on the radar.
All right, so again, it's gradually exiting our region. As we looked at the big picture here, there are a number of tornado warnings. Only one official report of a tornado on the ground in Virginia so far today. That was near Sussex County in eastern Virginia. But for our region, no official word yet on any tornadoes that have reached the ground. But just a massive line. This is unbelievable for this time of the year. And in that line, we're seeing individual embedded cells. So when there's just enough room for those cells to gain some moisture, you get storm after storm after storm that can spin up a tornado. And there is a lot of spin in the atmosphere, especially in the lower levels today, and it's called wind shear. When you have a change in direction with height or a change in wind speed and height, you start to get that rotation, and that's what we've seen across the Piedmont of Virginia and North Carolina today, no doubt about it. Let's go ahead and take a closer look here. We'll zoom back in real quick to our latest tornado warning, and the only tornado warning in our viewing area at this point is for Halifax and Charlotte counties. We're keeping an eye on a couple of cells, one in northeast portions of Halifax County, and then a separate one here around South Boston. Very heavy rain in either of those, but as far as rotation is concerned, I believe they're most concerned about this one to the north, and I'm going to take a look at rotation, and there is some pretty substantial rotation on this storm. I'm going to zoom in on that real quick here, and this is the area I am watching for potential rotation that could be pretty heavy or pretty strong rotation and may lead to a tornado. So if you are in Halifax or Charlotte County in this tornado warning, be extra cautious. Take your tornado precautions. If you are in a home, get to the innermost room of your house. A bathroom or a closet works fine. Grab a shoes, grab a helmet in case you are inside of a tornado and sustained damage. That can actually help you escape much safer. Also, maybe bring a pillow or blanket with you. Some people even bring a mattress with them if they hang out in the bathtub, whatever it takes to be safe. And again, if you're in these tornado warning locations, take it easy. At the very least, get inside your home, away from windows. There is hail with this, strong winds as well. That combination is not safe. When you're anywhere near windows. Windows can break easily when there's strong hail like this, John.
Right, and Taylor, we do have some confirmations, right? Is that correct, Rob? We do have confirmations of some tornado damage. They're assessing that. It'll be assessed as a tornado as it moves through. Fred Godfrey is out assessing that damage. He's from the Appomattox Public Safety Unit. Students are being held in school, so they're being held in place or, being safe and inside the schools. There is damage to some homes in there. Touchdown possibly confirmed from that area in the Evergreen Pamplin region. Trees are down on 460. We are sending Bill Waddell, our reporter. He is en route to that. So the Evergreen Pamplin area, there are possibly people even trapped in the region as well. So again, right along the 460 region, we're looking at some trees down. So this has been a significant event. And now we have the confirmation that there is some damage to this region. So folks, again, hopefully everybody is heeding the call and making sure that they understand that we are dealing with some very significant storms moving through the area. It is February. It is a time of year when we really don't have a lot of that type of activity, but if we do take a look here, and again, we got 360. This is South Boston. This is another cell that's coming on through. This cell is very intense and moving up through to the north and east. This tornado warning is in place as we continue to watch this. I'm going to keep an eye on all this action. I'm going to try and put this in motion for you, and as you can see, what we're dealing with is again, as the storms march on through the region, they continue to kind of feed on themselves. There is a storm cell that a little bit of a concern in through portions just to the south, as it just kind of crossed up in just to the South Boston area. So that is something that we're going to keep an eye on. Again, this other cell up here through to the north is another one. All this progressing up through to the north and east of the region. So that is a concern for us as well. So again, this is a confirmation that there has been active weather throughout the day, and especially where we showed you earlier, the Evergreen and Pamplin area, there are damage to homes. There are possibly some folks trapped there. So again, you want to make sure that with these new cells coming on through, that there is history here of significant problems, significant weather, significant damage. Get in the center of your house. If you are in the Keysville area, in through portions of the South Boston region, these are the hailstones that we're looking at, or the reports of hail through Doppler radar that we are monitoring as well. Over an inch-sized hail. So again, we have reports that there has been a possible tornado on the ground. We're trying to get some visuals, trying to get some official confirmation of that. It won't be actually determined that it was a tornado till the Weather Service goes and sees. But if the pictures that I've seen are correct, we had a fairly decent cell with a dropped down touching tornado move through the Evergreen area. So this is a major problem. And here's South Boston. All right. Taylor, what are we noticing about this cell and this cell? There's two more that we're dealing with. This one was the one that came up from North Carolina as well, and that one was the tornadic activity that we do have the new tornado warning there until 4:45. Is that correct? From that cell or from the one to the north?
Yeah, that was initially issued for the one to the north, John. Okay. But this, like you mentioned, this southern cell was under a tornado warning in extreme northern North Carolina. So that has had a history of at least some rotation with it. And as we look in here, nothing screams of strong rotation there, so that's definitely good news. If we move this to the north, I am seeing maybe a little bit more rotation there. I'm going to move this up here real quick and take a closer look.
Maybe right in through this region.
Yeah, that's, let's take a look here. Yep,
right through
some
here.
bright reds and bright greens. I would say at least broad rotation there, but whenever you see those bright reds and greens, again, that's greens are the winds toward the radar, and the reds are the winds away from the radar, and the brighter the color is, the stronger the winds are. So whenever you see those really close to each other, that's a sign that there's at least rotation in the storm, if not a tornado on the ground.
Yeah, Taylor, can we, I don't know if this is challenging on the fly to ask you to do this, but is it possible for us to get up to the Evergreen area and maybe just go back in time and see if we can't notice the situation that really caused a lot of problems? Here's Evergreen, here's Appomattox. We are hearing reports of significant damage in the Evergreen area, and it more than likely could be from a tornado that came down. It might have been through this cell, it might have been through here. There's not a, I don't see a pronounced hook in the radar. Do you?
I don't think there was, but I do recall there was some really significant returns on the velocity.
Yeah, and this was 3:40, so this was about an hour ago.
Yes,
right?
And look at the top right of that box there. You see the bright greens. Yep, that's maybe 5 minutes after it moved through Evergreen. That's almost definitely the tornado.
And that might have been a sweep that we missed, a sweep line that we missed. So this could have been the one that moved right through the area.
5 minutes, it looks like there was some radar error there, so it looks like it may have missed it, or it caught the tornado right on the radar, and it couldn't handle that type of winds because it was so strong. So that's entirely possible as well, but it looks like around the 3:30 to maybe 3:35 time range is when that damage took place.
Definitely. And then that wasn't really the first one that moved on through there. I believe there was a couple others that came through the region ahead, or I guess this was that was the one.
That was the main one. There were a couple of other storms.
Yeah, there was that one I was thinking about, the one further south that moved through in and around the southern sections, in around right along 460 actually, and dropped down through. But again, we still have these. Wow, these just continue to get bigger, don't they?
Yeah,
look at these things continuing to follow through. Folks, if you're in Charlotte Courthouse right now, Charlotte Courthouse, if you're in Charlotte County, this thing is so big, we'll just say Charlotte County.
Keysville.
Keysville is really in line with this storm system that's moving on through. We are concerned a lot about the activities that we've seen. There have been people injured from these storms that moved through north. They also started through portions around the Chatham area and in around Danville. Now, the South Boston region just got hit pretty hard with a lot of rain, and the rain is moving in through the Dan River. There's still a flood warning for the Dan River through South Boston, but really Drake's Branch here, that looks pretty problematic as well. Highway 15, as it marches up through to the north, that is a problem as well. So again, these cells are fairly massive, and there's Drake Branch, what we talked about. Keysville and Hampton, Sydney, Farmville is way off in the distance here, but still in line with the activity that's moving on through. And again, this is because of the fact that we've gotten so warm in and around the region. We got up into the upper 60s and some low 70s by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. As that occurred, this atmosphere really started to percolate. We got the moisture coming up from the storm that's really centered in Ohio, right, Taylor? It's in pretty much Ohio right now.
We need to thank thank the wedge.
Thank the wedge,
Thank the wedge for really saving our butts here in Roanoke.
And unfortunate for the folks in and around the Piedmont area, and the folks that are about to get hit in and around the I-95 corridor and up towards Richmond. But really, the wedge has really kept a lot of this off to our east. So the cold air that we call cold air damming up against the Blue Ridge Mountains actually acted as an official wedge that shoved all this intense activity in through to the west. So apologetic to the folks, the people aren't liking the wedge in this region. And again, it is a major feature of what we deal with here in Western Virginia, is that wedge. And you can see how important it is to our forecasting tools and what we do as far as figuring out how to predict and forecast what's going on. The wedge is strong and in place. It could have the opportunity possibly to divert storms well off to our east. Unfortunately, today it didn't have enough power to get everything in the line from Seneca down in through Chatham to Danville. that was really the problematic situation. Here are our thunderstorm thing. Now, when we put these up here, I'll just take this off for a second to show the actual dots. And these are wind damages. I believe this is hail. Is that
correct? Yep.
Yeah. And then again, the wind damage in through this region. So oftentimes as well, we will have an opportunity to see if there's any tornadic damage on this. This has not been recorded as tornadic damage, but that doesn't mean that we didn't see one. We are talking about areas in and around the Evergreen region in Appomattox County that have confirmed reports of damaged houses. We have a crew that's on the way to Evergreen right now. We have people assessing the damage in Evergreen as we speak. And again, that's just the one pocket that we are keeping an eye out for. There was an unconfirmed tornado that did make it to the ground. Obviously, that's what's called a tornado when it makes it to the ground. And that was in the area around Evergreen. And we showed you at about 3:30, that was when we suspected that this possible tornado moved on through the area. So that's what we're keeping an eye on for you. And again, we are seeing significant reports of some wind damage and hail. And here's our hail damage in Chatham, 1-inch hail. These are actual reports. Like a lot of times we'll put the radar up and we'll say we're estimating that there was, hen-sized hail there. These are actual reports of the hail that is being reported to the National Weather Service. These will go on official storm reports these are official storm reports, so that's what's going on with that. So again, as we do bring you back to our map. Again, are there tornado warnings? Are they still in place? It does appear. Oh, here it is, right through here.
Got the one right there.
Yep, there it is. And again, another concern that it does stop at the border. But, ooh, look at that. Okay. Well, we're going to keep an eye on. We're going to keep an eye on that one.
The good news is that is trailing out of our viewing area.
Out of the viewing audience. That is important for our viewing audience. Not important for folks in Stovall, but Clarksville. And if you do know folks in that area, this is all moving off to the east. And it's now to the point now where we're going and we're going to go assess the damage and see what happens. See if we can help people. See what we can do to get people that have had damaged homes. We'll get in touch with the American Red Cross. We'll get in touch with folks that can assist in the damage that has occurred today. I don't know officially what has happened. I don't have official reports of what's going on, but we are hearing reports of significant damage in the Evergreen area. So again, that is something that we want to continue to keep an eye on. Is this Dryburgh right in through here? Is the appendage that we're talking about, Taylor? Is that what you're concerned about?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at least on the actual radar return. You got that classic look of the southwest portion of the storm and that appendage sticking down there. That's where the general area where you would find a tornado on a supercell like this. Velocity, didn't see really anything that points to anything tornadic on the ground there like we saw earlier this afternoon. That has since been confirmed. Looking further to the north and east here near Drake's Branch, obviously a lot of rain in this return around that area.
Right in through Drake's Bridge, right in this area? Is that
correct? Right? Yeah, just a lot of rain there. But if we take a look at the velocity inside this box, there are the greens and the reds next to each other, but I'm not seeing
anything. It's not bright green to the brighter red. Yeah, so it's still problematic, of course. Oh, what we got? Yeah. Interesting scenario. This is Highway 47, State Route 47, as it moves in through the Drake's Bridge area, or Branch area, excuse me. And there's Charlotte Courthouse, Keysville, right in the teeth of all this. And we have had reports of some power outages as well. In our newsroom is Travell Island. Travell, are you available? There you are. Okay. Hey, what is going on? What kind of reports are we getting as far as damage, power outages, and the like?
Well, we just got some numbers in about power outages from Appalachian Power. We have about 4,000 throughout our viewing area, which include about 557 in Bland County, another 346 homes in Buchanan without power. Carroll County, 190 homes without power. Floyd County, that number is about 474. Grayson County, about 416 14 power outages reported there, including an additional 1,200 in Patrick County and another 118 in Pulaski County. So again, just about 4,000 homes and people without power throughout the viewing area because of this heavy storm. We have crews around the area who will be surveying damage and also keeping an update on these power outages. We're working with Appalachian Power to find out when the time frame, how long it will take them to get out and start making these repairs to get people back out of the dark. We're working this, and we'll keep updating you as soon as we get more information. John.
Thank you very much, Travella. And we also have a reporter out in the field. We've been following his mobile cam throughout the afternoon. Bill Waddell is just past the Lynchburg area, continuing to seek some storm activity. So we're going to check in with that picture. Here it is right now. Okay, great. There we see it now. Now, if you're noticing here, a bit of a, you see the clouds off in the distance there. They're getting a little bubbly, a little percolated. He's getting a little bit closer to it. The problem is that what we're dealing with is that as we do see, there we go, as we do see these storms kind of bubbling up, the sun actually is setting behind me here, and what we're doing is the sun is kind of bouncing off the tops of these clouds, giving a good indicator. But up further to the north of that, there's some cloud cover that's just kind of trailing behind. This is high-level cloudiness. The real teeth of this is in through here with the cumulus clouds moving on through, cumulus clouds moving through the area. Taylor, what are you looking at when you see, especially over off in through to the left portion of the screen as well?
Well, you know, it's what I'm seeing there is just kind of the typical cumulus clouds on the extreme top of the screen there. That's the closest clouds. And then further in the back there, again, the cumulonimbus clouds, kind of that cottony, puffy, but almost, cotton candy type clouds that look really puffy and almost explosive. That's the type of cloud you'll see with a strong thunderstorm, and I'm sure
now,
we've seen
as you were, when you were a chaser and you were storm chasing out now, obviously, this is fairly flat. There's not a lot of there are hills, but it's relatively flat compared to the highlands. Sure. What were you looking for as you were approaching? Say you're driving this car. What would you be looking for in the cloud signatures?
Well, with a typical storm that doesn't have a lot of rain like these do, you typically look for a lowered cloud base beneath kind of the typical cloud base of the rest of the storm. Unfortunately, with these storms, you aren't going to be able to see that because they have been just shrouded in rain throughout the day. Just a lot of moisture to work with. So really, these are not the type of storms I would even chase in the first place because you can't see anything anyways, so what's the point? And you're just putting yourself in harm's way. Right,
exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, these storms, when they came upon the folks in Appomattox, in the Evergreen area, rain-wrapped is an expression we like to use. Describe that to everyone. Rain-wrapped storms, obviously, it sounds very simple to explain. It's a storm that's wrapped in rain, but
yeah, but it's the tornado, and your visibility between I guess you and the tornado is confined by the rain, and you can't see the tornado until it's really close to you. So unfortunately, that may have been a situation in Appomattox County just about an hour ago, as the tornado may have been shrouded in rain, and for that reason, they're completely caught off guard. That's why you got to be weather aware when we tell you there's a tornado watch or even a tornado warning. You've got to take it seriously.
Yeah, that is true, and we are again monitoring a significant line of storms. Now, a lot of times, a couple of years ago, it was 2011, I believe, that massive derecho that came on through. That was a line of thunderstorms, but it was all moving in as a big group from one side to the other, coming in from West Virginia. This is different. What this is doing, these are individual cells that are moving from south to north, and the whole general motion is a little bit off to the east. And if we can put these in motion, you can see that, yeah, it's not a big, giant, just batch of intense thunderstorms moving through. These are actually individuals that are coming together for collective problems that we're dealing with. We have the tornado warnings here in the red. You can see 1, 2, 3 right now that are active in the area, in the Piedmont South Side region. We are seeing these clearing. The viewing audience headed towards Rehoboth and Farmville, and we are actually now going to turn our attention to some storms that might percolate up in the warmer air coming up in through portions of the, this is Patrick and Henry counties up in through Franklin, moving up towards the Bedford area as well. Now, none of these are as near as intense as this line of storms moving on through. But again, we're going to see some of these marching on past the area, and we will possibly hear the rumble of thunder. But this is really the focus of attention. And again, just to give you an idea of the massive scope of this, we can zoom out and show you the intensity all the way down through to South Carolina. Now, the good news is it does appear that we're seeing an end to the line. Is that correct, Taylor? We're looking at this line extended all the way down in through South Carolina earlier. That's kind of good. I guess a lot of it has to do with the fact the sun's going down a bit, too.
Right. Well, what's crazy about this storm is there's actually a forecast for these thunderstorms around D.C. to stretch all the way into New Jersey, New York City, and maybe even southern Maine, believe it or not.
Wow.
It's late February, and we're talking about thunderstorms in Maine. So, yeah, an incredible storm. And then, of course, on the backside, we're looking at some snowfall, and that snow may get us close to the Virginia Highlands later on tonight.
Yeah, that is true as well, because that's the thing, too, with the center of this being right probably around, I can't really tell through, but around this way. As this marches up into the Great Lakes, what we'll see on the backside is this coming on through, which is this. That's a meteorological term, this. But what we're looking at is the colder air coming down into the area. The news is, the forecast is for most of the snow to maintain a presence on the west face of the Allegheny Mountains and in through the Cumberland Plateau and stay probably in through portions of the New River Valley. But we're not into that cold pocket yet because we're still seeing some rain showers moving on through portions of Tazewell County, up in through sections of Mercer County as well. But again, this is just a very intense. There's 1, 2, 3 tornado warnings that are still in effect for our area that we are continuing to maintain a very watchful eye on. Now, again, our viewing audience kind of cuts off right about in through here, so we are seeing the action slide into the Richmond area. But again, I don't know if you can notice in through here, Taylor, just south of Farmdale on 460. I don't know what's going on with that cell, but it is something that's a little bit dicey for, I mean, all of them are fairly dicey. Sure. But again, then there's this batch north of Keysville that is a concern. So yeah, a lot of this is continuing to feed off. The good news is that we are pretty much almost in the clear zone as far as the folks that hear our signal for this. So more than likely we will be watching most of this exit the area. We're still concerned down in through portions. There's Charlotte Courthouse. That's still us in Keysville. Very strong cell that's moving through there.
I think Keysville is really the place left in our viewing area, at least, that really needs to take cover here. There looked like there was at least a little bit of rotation still in the heart of the storm.
Right in through or down in through here, either one?
Yeah, just to the south and west of town, actually, which is not what we want. Maybe a little bit right there is kind of what we're seeing. So it's on Keysville's doorstep, if not there already. Obviously a dangerous situation if you are in Keysville. Please seek shelter right now. Again, lowest level of your house or the innermost room of your home, bathroom, or a closet is probably the best bet for you.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we have had reports of power outages. We have a crew that is headed towards the Evergreen area, which could be the area that was hit the hardest. We don't have official confirmation of tornadoes, but we do have potential visuals of that. And here's what we got here. Well, I'm sorry, Rob, what was that? Oh, here we go. This is our roving mobile cam.
That sign looked like he was about 10 miles from Appomattox. I thought I saw there. So
did you catch the road sign on that?
Yeah, I got 2020.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, so he's headed toward the Appomattox area. You can see off in the distance these clouds still bubbling up. Obviously, he's in Appomattox County as we speak, which I believe is where we're finding a lot of damage being reported from the area. In fact, let me just read you a couple of things that we have gotten from Appomattox in the Evergreen, Pamplin area. Damaged houses, possibly at the time of this was about a half hour ago, possibly some folks trapped in some damaged homes. There are trees down on 4